Young and Beautiful by Velvet Oscar on Evo 3. Chapter 3. He's fucking Irish. Irish and loud and brash, enthusiastic, wealthier than the seven seas, and very, very Irish. Is that robust little accent going to get old? Probably, because Louis never minded to be anything but judgmental, and the volume that this rosy cheeked ball of energy procures is horrendous, borderline criminal. I'm Niall Horan, he booms immediately upon entry, clapping a strong hand in Louis's own. Swarms of men enter the flat, carrying suitcase after neatly packed boxes, because apparently new flatmate has bought a department store with him. Nice to meet you, mate. I suppose we'll be seeing each other quite a bit from here on. He continues seamlessly with a tone Louis can only describe as jolly much to his horror. The boy's face is set in a permanent grin, always seemingly on the verge of laughter, and hold in golden air. The brightness of his celestine blue eyes is almost enduring, matching his enthusiasm perfectly. But Louis really doesn't care, because he's already decided that he hates this loud, overwhelming person who has completely destroyed Louis' time and stepped on his wings quite a bit. Not to mention, his style is atrocious. He practically has an army of servants, and yet he chooses to wear a Ninja Turtles t shirt. Nothing clashes more with Guilty by Gucci. Well, not necessarily, Roy replies with ceremony, withdrawing his hand almost immediately upon contact, folding it into his crossed arms. He stands tall, keeping level eyes. Lou is very good at keeping level eyes. Niall, which is an ugly name, Louis decides, tilts his head, puzzled, eyes clear of any insult, hands resting on his hips in dominant casuality. How do you mean? Louis sniffs breezily, sidling away. No matter, I'll just leave you to your unpacking. I'm going to fetch some lunch. He makes for his wallet and is just about there when a pasty hand settles on his arm. Splendid. Can I help you? Louis bites, not even bothering to filter his distaste while meeting the easy blue eyes before him. But Niall, apparently unaware of how to interpret behavioral cues, merely grins and replies with, I'll have my assistant unpack. Assistant? And I'll join you. It's on me. Louis crosses his arms once more. That's sweet of you. Really, love. But I can pay for myself. Thanks. Of course you can. Doesn't change that I'm offering. Come on. I think the driver's still outside. Thanks, mate. The boy adds casually, sliding notes into the men's hands as they bring in the last of Niall's belongings. The driver's still outside? Louis is definitely not going to be able to handle this world. As much as I love a good chauffeur, I prefer walking. Excellent. I could use the fresh air after being stuck in that fucking car all day. I can't stand all that sitting. It's so goddamn boring. And before Louis knew quite what's happening, he is being ushered down the street and talked at vivaciously, almost abrasively, enthusiastically. Is there such a thing? Louis would have said no 5 minutes ago. No, Louis is definitely not going to be able to handle this at all. Niall Horan doesn't stop talking for 2 days. His voice carries through the suite, filling in the spaces and settling in the floor bands. And Louis can't imagine how he ever felt lonely, because what is lonely when Niall Horan is there? He barely has time to brush his teeth in silence, always finding himself answering some ridiculous question called to him from the other room, or worse yet, finding himself singing to whoever D.T. Niles concocted at the piano or guitar, because now Louis' life consists of blonde, brash, Irish lad, clad in pricey track pants and preppy sweaters, oozing money out of his every pore as he serenades Louis with chaos and leaves him whiskey chasers in the morning, weed at night. And though he's not his friend, nope, because Louis could never become friends with such an overprivileged cog in the machine. He is willing to put money on the possibility that he knows everything there is to know about this usually drunk, sometimes stoned, gleaming ray of sunshine who plays classical piano at the break of dawn and clumsily plucks out guitar solos in the darkest hours of night, sleek electronics surrounding him, consuming piles of food at every turn. That first lunch they went together was a learning experience in itself. They'd only been for 25 twinkling minutes. Niall insisted on some snobbish bar where they served you bowls of water, crisp napkins, and simpering smiles, when Louis just wanted some chips, maybe a bite of chicken. And Louis already knew where Niall was born, what his father's occupation was, a big time music producer, actually, which Louis begrudgingly finds intriguing, why his parents divorced, and when how Niall came about the decision to attend the school here as opposed to Ireland, what his four favorite cheeses are, cheddar, brie, gouda, and camembert, and his favorite brand of whiskey, Macallan. He also offered Louis a cigar 3 times because apparently he's 45 years old. Now, Louis never been a quiet person. He's never been one to sit in the back and observe, unless in a foul mood. But even his own rambunctiousness is absolutely shadowed by Niall, who is quite sure could be a broomstick. It's horrifying, it's annoying, and it's strangely fascinating, in a you can stop now kind of way. As your afternoon continued, every other word from Niall was fuck or cunt. There was a steady flow of drinks, and story after story of seemingly exaggerated situations were told, which Niall managed to downplay in his offhanded, laissez-faire manner, continually back and forthing between surveying the menu, bouncing his leg as he listened to Louis' answers, drumming his fingers on his thighs, and laughing at, well, basically everything. It was a loud laugh. It cut through the crystal decanters and swirled the liquor, making everything brighter and just more. It was fucking exhausting. But what else can you expect when you attend an award show, you know? Bunch of fat cat cunts eyeing your every move and whispering their shit to big boys. I'll tell you right now, he continued, plucking the cigar out of his mouth, as he leaned forward, wisps of dirty blonde sticking to the light sheen of sweat on his creamy forehead. When I get into business, I'm not going to play their games. I'll tell you like it is. I'm not Dinkin. Around life's too short for that, and I don't respect dishonesty or cowardice. Physically, Niall Horan's the spitting image of the sky. Yet, under the ambient lighting of the luxurious restaurant on that first afternoon, with smoke pouring out of his nostrils and gleaming across the band of his Rolex, Niall's presence possessed a strength Louis hadn't initially felt. He was spitting the image of a pleased little dragon sitting on his mountains of gold, fury breath curling around his smile as he licked a razor-sharp talons. It was almost impressive. Those are big words, man. You seem quite sure of yourself. Louis settled for in response, quirking an eyebrow. Niall just shrugged, stubbed out his cigar, and set clear eyes on him. Why not be? He replied simply, smile grant. And Louis couldn't find an answer. He wanted to leave it there, bar any forms of further conversation, because, yes, Louis had decided to hate this person, babyface or no. But this pesky curiosity got the better of him, as is custom, and so he found himself asking instead, So what are you studying to be then? Producer, like my father, was the immediate reply. A fan of music, then? Love it, can't get enough of it. A swig of whiskey, the ice tinkled against the glass. Louis nodded slowly, watching. How charming. Seems you're on the right path then, boy oh. He nodded smirkingly slightly. Of course, and what about you? Little old me. Louis teased, leaning back in his chair and stretching out his arms. He sighed, bringing a hand to his artfully disheveled hair. Oh, I don't know. Drama, I suppose. Acting? I'll let you know. Until then, I request no questions, please. Louis sniffed, taking a sip of his whiskey sour. Which was shit, by the way. He hasn't let Niall order his drinks for him since, as he felt Niall's eyes observing him. Your artsy types are something else. His voice was amused rather than irate. Dramatic? Louis applied, grin impish. Very dramatic. Now let's eat. I'm fucking starving and want to get back before the piano comes. Louis started. Before the piano comes? Are you being funny? You're bringing a fucking piano to our flat? Don't worry, I'll fit it in with my shirt. Louis almost pressured the matter because honestly, he thought size was the issue. but instead he let it go, unfolding the napkin onto his lap and muttering, "A piano! Honestly, didn't realize I was living with the queen." Niall grinned short back, and I could say the same, and Louis, lips pursed, concluded with a rude. Then the server arrived. Niall ordered enough food for the kitchen staff, and after an intense inner battle between Louis and his inner pride, he will not have rich strangers taking care of him as if he were a charity case. No, sir. He ordered the exact same for Louis, much to his mortification. "Are you saying I'm fat? Why the fuck would I be able to eat that much?" Shrug. "I can eat that much. That's a bloody lie. Nobody can eat that much." Note: Niall was not in fact lying. Niall can eat that much. He even finished Louis. It was an intense meet and greet, one that left Louis more weary than anything. But as Niall poured the drinks and laughed at all of Louis' jokes, he felt that maybe he'd deal with worse. That is, until the piano came. When they returned to their flat and looking back on it, Louis kicks himself for not contesting the whole thing. Niall immediately made a few inquiring calls as to the whereabouts of the said piano, while Louis made a beeline for his room, because sweet solitude was the only thing on Louis' mind after that whirlwind luncheon from almost hell. It was just as he was humming his favorite Disney song and starting at the tall cream molded ceiling of his room in a blissful zone. He really needed to start purchasing some decorations, that Louis heard the unmistakable chaos of a fucking piano being brought through the fucking door. Careful to stay away from the debacle, but unable to resist from peering at the moving men's bums through the crack of his door, Louis burrowed within the layers of blanket of his bed, hiding from his reality as any sane man would. Eventually the clanks and the bangs died down, as did Niall's joyously barked orders, which were peppered with laughter and loudly clapped handshake. Is there anybody he doesn't get along with? His joviality is disturbing. And Louis almost began to lull himself into a sense of normalcy when the tinkling thunder of keys began raining down on his peaceful solitude. And that's how Louis' room no longer became a safe haven away from Niall Horan's existence. It was the exasperation of the situation that prompted Louis to stand before Niall, who was now effortlessly playing a faintly similar piece that was both bold and gorgeous. In that moment, Louis marveled just a bit at the boy before him as he explained to Louis how simple the piano was, how freely it came to the fingers, all the while dressed in an oversized tank top and grey sweatpants, flat bill on the backwards. Classy. It's obvious not that easy to play, otherwise everyone would be at it, Louis reasoned, and he might have rolled his eyes with gusto. It really is. Just not as fun as guitar. And Louis distinctly remembers thinking, "Oh great, he plays guitar too. Fucking excellent." "I can teach you if you like," Niall continued, eyeing him. Louis scoffed at the time, causing Niall to smile and follow up with a conclusive, "I'll teach you." He wanted to complain, but he didn't. Instead, watched Niall's hand flit across the keys. "They make you learn shit like this," he explained as Louis started, arms folded, refusing to be impressed. "Your parents and that, it's all part of the show." "Good breeding," Louis muttered with light disdain. "Aye, good breeding?" Niall laughed, eyes never leaving the instrument before him. "I bested Beethoven before secondary school," Niall said. "Of course you did. You're a show-off." And Louis mildly wondered if the boy would take insult, but Niall merely laughed. "It's easy, I'm telling you." And so Louis watched him, and he now realizes it's the only time Niall is ever silent when he plays an instrument. Haha. Before suddenly asking, "Why did you stop?" And exactly when Louis started to care about Niall Horan's life, he doesn't know. A shrug accompanied an "I like guitar better," and that was that. After a while, Niall was back to singing some unidentified 80s song as he rummaged through kitchen cabinets and lamented the lack of groceries. So Louis had tried to get away. "I'm going for a walk," he said smoothly, slipping into his shoes and itching to hear his own thoughts again. "I'll go with you. And fuck. Actually, shit, I just remembered I need to email some mates back home. Email still exists, right? So I think I'll just stay back after all. With a shrug, Niall made some parting pleasantries before dismissing himself anyway. Which is one good thing about the lad. He has a strong mind and he does what he wants, accompanied by others or not. But that's the only good thing. Louis was so grateful for the unexpected peace that he almost actually kissed the floor. All right, he might have actually done it, shame be gone. But as the time passed, instead of soaking up the much needed Louis time as was planned, he found himself to be bored, very bored. It was with horror that Louis began suspecting that within the few short hours he had known Niall Horan. He had almost begun to enjoy the lad's conversation. He was, after all, a people person, Irish socialites or not. But this socialite was an overindulged child with a penchant for cigars, golf, beer, and whiskey, and guitar. Oh, and piano. Let's not forget that piano. And it was the damn piano that so intrigued Louis, that led him to sit down almost cautiously on the bench in the still apartment and plug the keys with the tentative curiosity that is normally quite foreign to Louis Tomlinson. It was when Louis was just beginning to feel comfortable with that intimidating ebony beast that Niall happened to return. "You're playing," he announced happily upon entry, throwing off his shoes and clomping towards Louis, who shot out of the bench like a spring. "I'm not. I fell onto it, obviously." Louis scowled for good measure, but Niall brushed the sentence aside, taking a seat at the bench, cologne and sweat invading Louis' firm bubble of personal space. "Sit down, I'll teach you." Instinctively, Louis wanted to protest, but as he once again heard the flicker of colored notes fill the space of their elaborately overcompensating flat, Louis took his seat beside Niall and reasoned that he could anyway deny this incident later. And that was how Niall gave Louis his first piano lesson. Sort of. After a lot of repetition, gibberish, and flustered mistake, Louis huffed with a "This is so harder than it looks," and pushed himself away from the keys, crossing his arms in stubborn protest. "Not really," Niall replied with all the ease of one who's been trained since birth. Louis glared. "Well, of course you'd say that. You've been playing since you were a fetus." "I'm fairly certain there was no piano in my mother's womb." "Oh, you didn't have one delivered." Niall burst into laughter, and since that very first day of getting to know use and sensory overloads, it's been a continuous trial of Louis' patience versus Niall's vivacity, and 2 straight days of Niall Horan's voice. So naturally, Louis isn't thrilled to be woken up again this morning for the second day in a row by pretty little tinkling notes jutting merrily through a room that possesses far too much darkness to be called morning. "You play wonderfully." Louis fake grins with a sharp teeth, hair mushed as he stands in his pajamas, voice gravely from too little sleep glaring down at an obvious Irishman. "Thanks, mate." Niall beams as his finger dance along the keys, his frame adorned in a fucking bathrobe. "Where does this boy shop?" "Have you quite finished?" "Not quite yet. One more movement." "And is he fucking serious?" The boy's eyes gleam, clearly unfazed, or perhaps merely uncomprehending the gravity of Louis' agitation, which is not something Louis takes so lightly. He immediately presses his hands down upon Niall's, stilling them, locking his gaze with his own. "Niall, mate, stop playing the piano." Louis waits until a flicker of understanding brightness into his life behind the lit eyes before him. "It's dawn." "Oh," and he takes his hands away. Nodding with finality and feeling very much in love with the sound of the silence, Louis straightens and turns to leave, eagerly awaiting a reunion with his plush bed and mountain of blankets. Until, "Do you want to get any breakfast?" Louis breathes a long, suffering sigh. "Niall, we walk since the sun's out." "I'm not walking this early. I'm exhausted. First you wake me up with the screeching hunk of driftwood, and now you're—" "My treat." Niall said. Well, where do you propose? Louis sniffs, refusing to relent just yet as he stands with his arms folded, gaze firmly averted in an obvious displeasure. That cave on the corner, the one you saw last night with the glitter balls. Those weren't glitter balls. They were mood lighting. Glitter balls, so how about it? Louis inspects Niall's face, eyes narrowed, sleep tugs at his eyelids. And yet, I can get whatever I want. Of course. I'll be ready in 10. Louis sings songs. Because, pride be damned, if these rich kids are going to throw away their money, they might as well throw it away on him. The day continues as the past to have. Louis attempts to drown out his surroundings with every conceivable distraction available phone, iPod, TV, sleep. But every single time he's found a piece of Louis time. There's a knock at his door, a jarring burst of laughter, an invitation to play FIFA, or an electric guitar sizzling through the calm air. This is just not going to work. Wanna smoke, mate? Niall suddenly calls, just as Louis is debating the contrasting appeals of gold curtain versus purple. Louis grits his teeth. Must you call for me every 10 minutes? You really are a child, aren't you? Is that a yes? Fuck it all to hell. Exasperated, Louis considers the offer momentarily. He could use a good smoke right now before it suddenly dawns on him. Term starts tomorrow. Tomorrow? And he hasn't even assembled his notebooks. Not that he's ever done that in his life. But this is a proper school and he's got to have his head on straight this round. He's weighted the pros and cons of this situation, and as much as he wants to piss his father's money away, he has an obligation to his sisters and his mum, especially his sisters, not to fuck it up all. And though he may not know just what the fuck he wants to do with all of this, and though that just might terrify him, he's going to do this, right? He needs to prepare for school. Niall! He suddenly shouts, determination flowing in his veins. He steps into their living room, final tea, and Niall looks up for the couch, mouth stuffed with crisps, and a little baggie in his lap, surrounded by laptops. We're going to prepare for school tomorrow. Pack your things. We're going to tea shop. Why the hell did Louis invite Niall? While Louis was organizing his folders and notebooks and checking his school emails studiously, Niall has been staring at the screen of his iPhone 5, occasionally stuffing a not funny picture in Louis' face that he'd found on Tumblr. Murder is imminent. Get me a beverage, will you, Louis? Niall asks, absent-mindedly flickering through his iPhone. Louis' eyes narrow. I'm not your monkey. Get it yourself. Oh, please, mate, he begs, now looking up, his hair messy and sticking out at the ends from underneath his flat bill. I don't know what to order at these places. Louis sighs with the air of great suffering. Well, son, you can either get tea or coffee. I don't like either, Niall says. What? What do you mean you don't like either? Just what I said. Do they have gelato? Gelato? What the hell? No, they don't have gelato. Where exactly do you think we are at? Well, get me something to eat then. I'm fucking starving. You literally just ate, mate. I can't help it. And Louis is this close to cracking that goddamn iPhone over that pineapple's head. But as they are in public, he settles for a deep breath and a focusing of the shelf instead. Just because you have the ability to purchase a small island, it does not mean I'm going to cater to you. It's people like you that suck the life force out of our society, and it's people like me that need to stand up, and I'll fetch next round. Get yourself everything you want and get me something to eat as well. Only because his stomach is grumbling and he has too much of a headache to continue, does Louis begrudgingly agree. But only after, what's the magic word? Ireland? Please. And the words is curled into a smirk. So what then? You want a water, a biscuit, a scone, a flatbread, a sense of decency? Yes to everything but the decency. Buy it all. Pause. Please. Louis stares. So you literally want anything? Everything. Everything, you literally want everything, Louis says. I trust your judgment, Niall concludes, and he's back to starting at his phone. Laptop untouched before him, a clear signal of being done with the conversation. Well then, if that's the way this is going to go. With a smug bounce to his step, Louis marches up to the barista. Hello, love, I'll take everything in the case. The girl stares. Excuse me? The lot, everything that you've got. I want every last crumb. He pulls out Niall's credit card. Don't worry, I tip generously. So, when Louis finally returns to their table, serves baristas in tow carrying tray upon tray of every baked treat this tea shop has ever owned. He is fully expecting to be received with a temper tantrum or at least a filthy glare. But what does he get? Oh mate, this is awesome. Oh, this is brilliant. The boy laughs loudly, and almost every face in the room stares on his mild curiosity. Niall claps a hand onto Louis' back, briefly knocking the wind out of him. You are a good man, Tomo. What did you call me? Louis wheezes and glares as he collects himself before sitting down. Niall nods his thanks to the baristas, winking at several, and Louis isn't oblivious to that Irish charm before staring at the plethora of food before him like a kid in a candy shop, which isn't too far off from the reality. You're supposed to be angry with me. I spent a lot of money on that, Louis says pointedly, because fuck, does this guy ever get mad? I can afford it, Niall shrugs before offering a scone to Louis. He glares a full minute at the aforementioned item before finally sighing with defeat and grabbing it, picking it to pieces before popping a chunk into his mouth. Of course you can, he mumbles as he chews, and Niall beams back at him. They've only been at the tea shop for a total of 2 hours, but already Niall's eaten most of the baked goods, and Louis is clawing at his hair with boredom. Ready to go? Niall asks for the 5th time, amusement written clear across his face. No, I'm preparing for my studies, Louis sniffs and returns to pretending to read his email. It's from the professor. It's a standard greeting. It really shouldn't be difficult to get through, but he hasn't gotten past. Greetings, prospective students. Fuck. He's just about to demand that Niall get him another tea, when suddenly the door to the tea shop opens and distinct scent of wealth and tailored suits come wafting through the humming hair. His view is blocked, but Louis' interest is immediately sparked. A fedora and an assortment of cream-colored suits barely visible through a gaggle of top-shop curls. The image of an antique car, 3 laughing men, and a bottle of champagne come to mind. Louis knows without any solid reason to believe so that it's them. The room is fairly cluttered, posh kids scattered everywhere and mulling about, and as Louis cranes his neck to spot the newcomers, he manages to almost fall out of his chair. Oi! Niall exclaims, immediately reaching out to steady him. Sorry, Louis says hastily, eyes still training on the lookout as he brushes Niall's hands away. Where did the newcomers go? Did you see who's just come in? Niall blinks, looks out at the crowd with watchful eyes. No, why? No reason. But Louis continues to stare, finally finding the source of his search. They have their back to him. Of course, they are sitting down, but Louis can already spot the hierarchy at hand. The fedora-clad one, caramel skin and slick back hair barely peeking out of his beneath, sits in the middle, surrounded by doting minions. Sad. On his left is a smooth-looking boy. Louis catches a brief glance of his profile, all mild features and sweet cream skin, who laughs politely, never leaving the fedora boy's side. The rest all blur in one mass of eccentricity and elitism. Well, well, well. Louis looks like this school's got its very own mean girls. I hate rich people. Louis finds himself muttering vehemently. I like you too, Niall immediately responds, and when he looks up, he's grinning. Come on then, Louis, let's get back. I want to watch the game. Yeah, alright. Louis agrees, and As he stands up and begins collecting his things, the door opens again, another waft of pretentious rich boy waffling through the air. He tells himself not to look because then it seems he cares, but he can't help but sneak a glance as he follows Niall out the back door. It's another boy, very tall, dressed in a mint green suit. Does anybody own jeans around here? Fucking seriously. But once again, there are too many people in passing that block Louis from getting a good look. The last thing he sees before he slits out the door is the tall, slender frame of mint green boy bending down to press a sweeping kiss to the fedora. Then the doors shut and Louis forgets the scene entirely.